And judging by the way she looked, she made it her business to get in that damn weight room. For the Kennedy Carter push, to the DJ Carrington eye poke situation, to all of the other different fouls that Caitlin Clark took, it looked to me like she definitely needed to get in the weight room. And I'm here to tell you that's exactly what she did during this offseason.
What occurs when the WNBA's most talked about rookie declares she's sick of being ignored? Fans who witnessed Caitlin Clark being bullied during her first season were stunned by her transformation photos, and one commenter's jaw-dropping response was that even the same individual nailed what everyone was thinking at the time the photos appeared.
Now, it was unclear how often Caitlin was in the weight room, but judging by her physique, it looked like she was in there every damn day. I just gotta keep it real. She's looking like young Hulk woman out here, bruh. Woman Hulk. She-Hulk. I think that's her name.
Is this the most significant physical change a WNBA player has undergone between seasons? The images are truthful. It's obvious that Caitlin Clark has been working hard while others have been occupied with social media, and the entire Fever team is getting tougher. How will this newfound strength affect her performance against opponents who believe they could frighten her again? There is absolutely no chance.
Now she, can get a little bigger, another year in the league, and say, you ain't messing with me, right? And make that physically clear on the court.
However, let's examine how this image went popular. The legendary Iowa basketball player recently showed up at her old team's game, and nobody was expecting what they saw. Photographer Bree caught Clark supporting her old squad, but it wasn't just her excitement that attracted attention. It was her drastically changed body, which was the product of the hard work she had been doing behind the scenes.
Now, this is the photo of Caitlin Clark right here, joining her team last night. I'm telling you right now, you guys can see. I mean, my goodness.
When you compare the two images side by side, it's like looking at two different athletes. The skinny rookie who was pushed around last season has changed into someone with noticeable muscle definition, broader shoulders, and an athletic frame that shows serious dedication. People on social media are going crazy over this picture, and some fans are even wondering if it's real or if someone altered it.
Night and day from last year, bro. Night and day from last year, bro. I mean, it's just no question how much muscle Caitlin Clark has put on for this 2025 season. And to me, it definitely looked like she's ready to take this whole thing over. I can't even lie to you guys.
Examine her arms more closely to see the subtleties of the metamorphosis. Her shoulders have greatly expanded, giving her an athletic V-shape, and her posture conveys greater confidence, like a sapling that has matured into a powerful oak. She now displays definition that was lacking during her first campaign.
By side comparison, oh my goodness, she's freaking juiced.
With remarks like, she won't be pushed around anymore, abounding on social media, basketball analysts are making connections right away. They recall Kennedy Carter's shove, but what about DJ Carrington's elbow that sent her crashing to the ground? All those physical plays that left Clark picking herself up seem to be over.
This is Caitlin Clark getting her battle armor on, all right? Preparing for the season, getting a more mature physique, getting ready to, let's be honest, withstand the all-out assault she's going to take on a court from all these WNBA players that, well, for lack of a better way of putting it, hate her guts. There we go. I said it out loud. It's now out there. Not like it's a secret to anybody.
What's intriguing is what this implies for rivals who believed they could use her physical characteristics against her. The bullying strategies used by teams against rookies. Clark is going to face a whole different athlete. If she was already losing by 19 points a game and losing to physical dominance, just think of what would happen now that she can defend herself.
A lot of people were asking if it was fake, given how impressive it looks. You could see some of the definition there as she's cheering on. In this one, that second bicep is behind the first one, so it almost makes the first one look like it's both of them.
This change is a calculated one. Clark recognized her greatest vulnerability and used all of her resources to target it. The message was crystal clear. I'm tired of being bullied.
The rest of the players that the Fever brought in, and I think that's been understated a little bit, the toughness that they added.
The Indiana Fever front office was making changes that would alter everything while Clark was busy changing her body in the waiting area. Recall how the Connecticut Sun physically controlled the Fever teams during the previous season, pushing them around and interfering with their play. The Fever responded with two strategies. First, it assembled a team with the NBA's toughest veterans with championship DNA, and second, it supported Clark's physical growth.
The player development coach, shout out to the Fever organization. I mean, Caitlin Clark looked just great.
In one particularly agonizing game last season, opponents outmuscled Indiana in rebounds and forced multiple turnovers, with Clark taking hits with no enforcement behind her. To address this weakness, the Fever deliberately targeted players who are known for their toughness.
Want to mess with DeWanna Bonner, who's been around the block, or Natasha Howard, same thing. You know, Sophie Cunningham ain't ducking any smoke. Sydney Colson has been in those championship situations.
Yes, that's correct. Diana Bonner contributes her toughness and championship experience. There was no veteran on Indiana who could deal with the physicality of the playoffs. This team requires her abilities to hold her ground and create space without attracting unwanted attention. Meanwhile, Natasha Howard changes their defense by making opponents reconsider driving inside with her rim protection and shot blocking. Sophie Cunningham, who is known for her tenacity, thrives in confrontation and plays with an edge. She will be setting hard screens for Clark and ensuring that opponents feel every inch of her presence. Sophie Cunningham gives Indiana the grit it sorely needed.
So there's a lot of players that came over who bring that expertise and who bring that toughness factor. Because you could look at the Fever last year and maybe say that is a way teams could get in their head, is to try and punk them a little bit.
These additions directly address the team's defensive toughness and rebounding deficiencies from the previous season, during which the Fever struggled when teams disrupted their offensive flow through physical play. However, last year's opponents faced a rookie-La team they could intimidate. This year, they're up against a squad built around toughness from top to bottom, and if someone tries to take down Clark this season, they'll have to contend with a whole team of veterans who won't hesitate to make them pay.
Sun were able to beat them by mucking the game up. Now, Fever and Caitlin Clark ain't going to be pushed around. So I think that was the biggest takeaway, or is the biggest actual, other than, funny memes and everything else that went with the viral Caitlin Clark photo.
That change in team dynamic is only one component of the issue. Let's now discuss what Clark will really do on the court with those muscles.
Not to just go all in one direction, because you also have to be careful, and I'm sure the training staff knows all this. There's a balance there when you're lifting weight, because you want to make sure the mechanics of the shot don't change, and nothing gets thrown off from the skill abilities.
Yes, that's correct. Many fans worry about how her shooting will be affected by muscle. Her shooting history demonstrates why players bulk up and their beautiful shooting stroke becomes mechanical, but Clark is unique. This added strength will probably make her shooting even more lethal. Additionally, muscle gives elite shooters tangible advantages because when defenders bump her, her core strength keeps her balanced rather than falling away, allowing her to release the ball faster because her arms don't tire as easily. Moreover, her form stays consistent during those crucial fourth quarter moments when everyone else is gasping out, which is precisely what Clark is currently developing.
Like, you just want to enhance and emphasize and build on all those things. But, it's only natural that a player would get better from season one to season.
As a rookie, Clark was already among the top finishers in the WNBA at the rim, making baskets even against more experienced defenders. Now, that same touch and ingenuity has more force. The physical defenders who bumped her off spot will find themselves bumped right back. Defenders who fought through screens to disrupt her rhythm will now face a player who can hold her ground, creating that crucial half-second of separation she needs. Defenders who bodied her up are about to face a completely different Clark. This change addresses exactly what teams exploited last season.
It's only natural that a player would continue to grow and mature when they're as young as Clark still is, and we sort of forget about that. But when you go back to last season, there were so many instances where either she was winding up on the floor, or you thought that the other team was thinking, all right, we're going to physically push the Fever around. No one's going to step up and have her back. So now she's making it so, you got to think twice about going at her physically. And two, she's got other players who will step up in that event.
Her already outstanding rookie statistics could be altered by the influence. 19.2 points with additional power, endurance, and stability boosting her elite skill set. We might witness a totally different level of dominance. She contributed 8.4 assists and 5.7 rebounds while being continuously pushed around. Clark is highly skilled at what she does. She practices her technique to fit her changing body by shooting hundreds of shots every day. This is a calculated physical growth that will improve every facet of her game.
Be a defensive strategy. It's been a defensive strategy since the beginning of time for a star player to push them around a little bit. Try and get in their head, throw them off their game a little bit with physicality. I mean, that's not a secret recipe or a new strategy in basketball. But, it appears when you factor in free agency and when you factor in the work that Caitlin Clark is putting in, the Fever are about to flex on the rest of the WNBA.
In relation to strategic development, in addition to altering Clark's game, this physical change highlights the distinction between athletes who boast about greatness and those who make sacrifices for it. Clark has been subtly changing her physique in the waiting area. Angel Reese's social media offers an altogether different story about her off-season priorities.
Caitlin Clark fans trolled Angel Reese after head-turning photo surfaced.
Have you noticed that Reese's social media accounts lack any indication of a physical makeover or commitment to the gym? Brand deals and podcast appearances take up the majority of Reese's feeds. Fans are directly comparing their off-season activities because of this striking disparity, saying things like, Clark is building her body while Reese builds her brand, with the proof being right there in their individual timelines.
Here we go. She's been putting in the work while others are doing podcasts and crying for more money instead of improving her game herself. Woo-wee!
Look at what Reese has actually been doing this summer. She's making rounds on various podcasts, maintaining a strong social media presence, discussing her experiences, and briefly withdrew from the Unmatched show. Clark, however, has been concentrating solely on physical improvement while gritting his teeth away from the cameras. One fan's reply sums up Clark's philosophy of letting her art speak for itself quite well. While others are talking about everything else, this contrast highlights two essentially distinct strategies for career advancement. While Reese is intent on developing her own brand and social presence, Clark is investing in her on-court performance. While Reese's timeline displays disparate priorities, the images of Clark's changed body offer indisputable evidence of her dedication.
It's like she's wearing some Nikes. She's not getting pushed around this year. I gotta agree with you on that. Roll, impressive work. Like I said, be honest, she's training for WrestleMania, right? No doubt her shooting will still be spot on. Her shot might even be better, man.
It's amazing how this is changing the rivalry story for the upcoming season, because as Clark's muscles grow, so does her reputation for self-control and commitment. The physical evidence is making everyone rethink both players, and when they finally play on the court, we'll be able to see the real effects of their different journeys. When the cameras are off, some players labor quietly while others try to get spotlight moments, and the scoreboard won't lie about whose strategy produces better results next season. The transformation photographs have revealed something that fans thought but couldn't confirm until now.
No doubt her shooting will still be spot on. Her shot might even be better, man. Her release possibly could be quicker. I believe her shot could be better with her putting on the muscle, stuff like that. I believe it's definitely going to make her game that much better. Somebody said, Bree, you don't even know what you just did for CCFC. Timeline gonna be, I love the orange for 2 weeks.
The player with perhaps the best natural talent in women's basketball, Caitlin Clark, is outperforming everyone else. So, what does this all mean for the WNBA next season? Make no mistake, what we're seeing with her is a message to the entire league that the days of pushing her around are over. Every defensive coordinator in the league should be terrified by that combo. How can you plan your game against someone who is improving on her 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds while fixing every flaw in real time? The question is not whether Clark will dominate, but rather how historic her second season will be. Her natural talent and determination, herald the arrival of a new breed of WNBA superstar. Are you prepared to see a new era of dominance?